Let's see if that makes a bit of a difference. I don't think it will. Yes. That's a bit better. A bit better camera, I think. Just make sure I'm not running over anything. So I'm just going to mess around for an hour, I think. I just brought this sprue today, which is some Imperial Roman legionaries advancing. These guys. I had 4 left over from the pack I bought from Victrix. So I've just bought another 4 off eBay, a sprue, which I can then create another 8-man squad. So got I've already got 8 built up and painted. I don't think the camera's right, and I think the light's in the right place. So I've got 8 painted up. So I've got another 8 I'm starting here. Maybe we'll just rubbish. And then just buckets and buckets more to go. All my Germans in the way. Oh, hello, Millers, right? How are you? Okay. So I'm going to build up these guys first. I think build these up, and then probably carry on painting my legionaries. Trying to get hold of some Victrix auxiliary infantry for my infamy force, but it seems a bit like gold dust at the moment. My local games club can't get hold of it. Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Millers. Yeah, good. Bit of a hobby time before I have a busy afternoon. Baby's just gone down for midday-ish or late morning to midday nap, so I've got some hobby time. And as I was meant to do a stream with Stug last night, but my computer was being rubbish, so I couldn't end up doing it. I thought I'd do something now. Why not? Oh, what I'm going to do is get these out of the way. Probably not that bothered about seeing these. I'm busy, I can't talk now.
No, it's just lining.
Oh, sorry about that, Melissa. My wife came in. Question from the father-in-law. Yeah, no, we were meant to do it, and basically I sent him a message. My Skype's really weird because I've got Skype on my phone and Skype on my computer. I think it pings to my Skype on my computer and doesn't tell my phone. Normally, that's what happens normally. So I'm always missing messages with him. I messaged him last night around 6:30 saying, "Are we still up for our live stream?" And then I just didn't hear back from him all night. So I stayed up till just gone 11, just in case he was having a late start, and then nothing. So I went to sleep. Then I woke up this morning to find I had messages on Skype from around 10 to 9 last night, which I never got, and it never showed up on my Skype or anything. I was on the chat, constantly looking on the chat, and nothing. So he was about, and I was about, but we just couldn't. We didn't realise we were both about. So unfortunately, yeah, it's kind of my. I say it's my fault. I don't know why my Skype is so rubbish. So unfortunately, we didn't do it. So gonna have to be next week now. Yeah, I was quite looking forward to it really because we had quite a few people on with us last time. It was nice to have a chat with everyone. So. Yeah, I know. It's typical technology just being itself. But no, yeah, it's no biggie. Just go again next time. Oh, I got knock my phone over, so I think I'll do. What you get when you buy a cheap tripod. Stung for it. Is it cooler there now? Yeah, so temperature has dropped. I mean, it was like 30 degrees the other day, and yesterday it was down to like 20, which was nice. It's all right today. It's just a bit muggy. It's not as cold, not as warm. It just still seems quite humid. So it's just holding the heat. But no, apart from that, it's okay. I've just been out today. It's been raining already. Had to go to the shop. Yeah, so we had some thunder, not last night, the night before. Not near my house, but it was enough to wake us up. It set a car alarm off over the road, so that was going off at 2:30 in the morning. But my mate who lives other side of town, he must have had it over the head because he said it was unbearable. He was shaking his bed. It was so loud and he came down in the morning to find a roof tiles come off his roof as well, which seems a bit crazy. But I do like a thunderstorm. But it was when by the time we got it, it was late into the night, so I missed most of it. I can sleep through and pretty much anything, so I missed a fair bit of the thunderstorm. But Show this one. These are my guys that I'm kind of working on. I don't want to overstretch my light and risk knocking everything over. You can't really see for some reason. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as well. I say it wasn't too bad where I was, but obviously around Bristol it's been pretty heavy. But we were kind of waiting for thunderstorms for a couple of days. Really, they kept hearing everyone else got them. I've been tempted to get some. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fanboy of Victrix. To be honest, I really like the Victrix stuff, and I wasn't going to get them because I've got a really large Republican Roman army, but I thought I could play that with Infamy. So I really wanted to play Infamy, and then I got it, and then kind of realised Republican Roman's a bit too early. So I was like, and I do like Imperial Romans, but I just don't like how everyone does a Imperial Roman army. It's always kind of put me off slightly. So I kind of shied away from doing that. But then after seeing Infamy, to be honest, it's the Roman Auxiliary by Victrix looks so nice. That kind of got me into starting this army because I really like the Auxiliary. So I ordered the Auxiliary and the Legionaries through my games club, and then or I asked them if I had them in stock, and they said yeah. So I went round to go pick some up, and turns out they just got lost. I think they just sold their last Auxiliary box, and they couldn't order me any in. So I just thought, I'll take the Legionaries and order the Auxiliary, but they still haven't got any Auxiliary yet. So, but to be honest, I've got enough to work on. So, but I'm hoping having 3 8-man units. Yeah, same reason I did Republican. I also loved using them into Total. Loved using them in Rome Total War. Do you mean the Imperial Romans or just the early Romans? I mean, I love Rome Total War. I played. I really like number 1. I got number 2. I've played a lot of number 2. There's something about just having the Romans stomping around. There's a really good mod called I don't know what it is now for Rome 2. That is, I think it's called Divide et Imperia or something like that. I don't know. And basically, it's a complete overhaul mod, and it takes everything. It's a bit more historic. So you start. So there it goes. I've already dropped a miniature. I always drop them between I always hold them over the side here when gluing them and then drop them. You got Rome Total 1 on your phone. Oh, what, like an emulator to play it? I loved Rome 1. I played so much of it. I liked Rome 1, the fact that you had 3 Roman factions playing at once. I like that, like the 3 houses. Whereas Rome 2, you play as one of the houses, but you control the whole of Rome, if that makes sense. But I liked having the green, blue, and red Romans, and then the SPQR, which I thought was really cool. Rome 1 has a special place in my heart, I think. It's kind of like I started playing Total Wars at Medieval 1, and then was it Medieval 1? Yeah, it would have been Rome 1 was after Medieval 1, wasn't it? Shogun, Medieval. It's got to be Rome, I think. Yeah, and then Medieval 2 after that. I didn't really play Medieval 2, I must admit. But yeah, I think Rome Total War 1 really kind of ignited my love for ancient Roman stuff. Oh, right, really? iPhone then? Is that Android? It'd be cool if it was iPhone. Not to have necessarily time to play. I got all the CDs, the CDs for Rome 1, but I doubt it will run on my computer, to be honest. Medieval 2 was the best Total War. Yeah, I've never played it, to be honest. I think I may have played an hour, I think I played Rome 1 loads and then just kind of didn't gain much. Oh no, Napoleon came out after Rome 1, didn't it? I don't know. I played a bit of Napoleon, played a bit of Empire, and then missed out on Medieval, and then started playing Rome 2 loads, and then I played Rome 2 lots and lots and lots, and then started playing the Warhammers. Quite like the Warhammers. I quite like. Yeah, I'm not mad about Warhammer lore. I just really like the dwarves. I like everything about the dwarves. So when you could play them on a Total War game, I played it. Just quite fun. Got Shogun 2. Played a bit of Shogun 2. Quite enjoyed that. Apart from that, yeah. I haven't played any of the sagas, the new ones, sort of Britannia or anything. I haven't played Attila. My mate really raves about Attila. I'm not sure if you played that. That's really good. Me and Stug were had Shogun 1, then Medieval 1, then Rome 1, then Medieval 2, then Empire. Yeah. Really liked Empire. I really liked Empire. It doesn't run on my computer for some reason. I tried to play Empire the other day. I was playing the Peninsula campaign and it just crashed after like the 5th turn. Couldn't play it. I downloaded Empire. I think it was Empire, unless it's Napoleon, because they've got a mod where you can do American Civil War. So me and Stug were doing some of the American Civil War battles, which is quite cool. We've only done 2, I think. Can't remember now. It was good fun though. We did 1 against each other, which is cool. We did, I think it was the Battle of Little Round Top during Gettysburg. I say the battle, the Little Round Top during Gettysburg. We did that battle. Napoleon was the furthest you got on your computer. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of always tried to just keep my computers up to date just to play the Total Wars. I kind of judge if my computer's worn out by Total War. Total War's not a stupidly demanding game. But it's nice to play Total War on like good graphics and stuff. So I try to always just keep it up enough to play them. And I play them currently fine. I got Warhammer 2 is probably the last one I played. I played Rome 1, but I had Rome 2 recently, but I just played it quite a bit. Apart from this mod I was in the middle of talking about, and then I went off track. But yeah, this mod is quite fun. It just completely changes up Rome 2, and I got a notification on Skype. We'll update it. So it kind of redoes the whole game on Rome 2, and it changes how the units work. You get kind of more realistic units, so you don't just straight jump into Hastati. You kind of go. I'd probably even say, early Republic. I think you start because you've kind of got these pre-Hastati. They're called the Rotorii, or can't remember now. Right, Skype, you can go away. It's a really good mod. If you were wanting a campaign on Rome, I'd recommend it. It changes everything. Like you can only recruit troops from so certain troops pull from a certain social class. So your equites. Hey gents, loads of stuff on the table. Unfortunately, there always is on mine. I don't give myself time to catch up. I just buy more. But I'm sure that's the story for everyone. They're all the same. We're all cursed in that way. What was I saying with this mod? If you want to get some X, you pull from the higher classes, because obviously they were back then. So you're more limited because you're going to have lots of this peasant class running around, but not so much of these elites. So restrict on what you can recruit, and that kind of adds a cool concept to the game. you're not just going to spam out an army of equites at the start because your economy physically can't handle it because you have population as well. So if you build a big army and get it wiped out, effectively you just reduced your population by quite a bit. So everything's going to function a bit worse. It's just really interesting. I really liked it, but it was hard, really hard. I found just getting stomped quite early on in the game. I'm currently building some Romans, Medieval Warrior, in case you're wondering. And I'm talking about Rome Total War 2. I bought a pack of 4 Romans to add to my other 4 that I've got here sitting ready to be topped up to an 8-man squad, 8-man unit. As I've got 8 here being painted up currently, and then I've got 8 here that I've painted, ready for my Roman army, as well as a leader and an optio that I've painted up. This is my. I can't be able to mess around with the camera too much for you to see properly, but yeah, I can see that they look really good. Oh, these are for me, yeah. So I'm trying to get a box of auxiliary to buff this army. I'm going to have hopefully enough for 3 8-man units of legionaries with an optio and a leader, plus kind of my musicians and stuff if I want to use them, and then buff that out with some auxiliary infantry. Then maybe splash out some archers. I've got the book. To be honest, I ordered the book. I pre-ordered the book, so I got it on the release, whatever. However, I actually haven't read through it. I think since I've ordered Infamy, I ended up buying my Infinity dudes, which over here. I ordered some Infinity, so I kind of put a lot of time into these guys, getting them painted up, and then just kind of put everything else on the back burner. And now I've got my World War I Germans built up, which I'm hoping. Again, I haven't really spent so much time looking into how I want to paint them. I want to look at a paint scheme because I think I'm going to have to buy some new paints. As I've painted up World War II Germans before, but I've done them in the kind of classic grey. But their uniforms aren't really grey; they're more of a greeny grey. So I think I want to do it. If I'm going to do it again, I want to do it right. Why is there such for these rules? Are they so good? I mean, I bought them because I really like Too Fat Lardies. I think they're geniuses. They're Rich Clark. I think he's a genius when it comes to rule sets. Like Sharp's Practice, I've really enjoyed. So I mean, I haven't played Infamy yet, but I purely bought it on the chance that I know Richard Clark writes good, fun rule sets. Yeah, I mean, I can't say much more than that because I actually haven't read through the rules yet. But yeah, all aboard the hype train, exactly. And the hype train's worked because he's made some good money off it already. So fair enough. But I don't know. I think I'm very much into kind of the random activation and stuff like that, and random unit activation within the game, which Too Fat Lardies do really well with Sharp's Practice and stuff. So having that come into an ancient setting, I think it's really cool. Also, I'm not sure you guys looking into Saga. Have any of you played Saga before? Because they're releasing Age of Hannibal, which I'm really looking forward to, and that's going to be my Republican Romans. They're going to get an outing then. So I've built up a whole Republican army, and I've not used them yet. So yeah, that's going to be a reason to get them out, which I'm quite excited for. But no, as for the rules, is the rule set for Infamy any good? I don't know. However, from what I've seen, it looks promising. I'll let everyone else do the talking for me because I don't know. But I do intend on playing it as soon as I can. Just got to get an army built up. So that's what this Imperial Roman army is about. There we go. 4 people done. I've done so. These are the Victrix Advancing Romans, but they're pictured with their Peeler, whatever. They're pictured with that, where I've given them all swords because I think they just look really menacing with their kind of swords out. It looks like they're not attacking, but they're kind of just slowly slogging towards the enemy with their swords out. I think it just looks a bit menacing, quite cool. So yeah, that's why I've done them up like this, really, rather than with Pelham. Is there any game that uses similar game systems as Bolt Action with Order Dice? Because I think that is such a good system. Yeah, I like Bolt Action. However, it's still, I don't know, like, you're right, it's got the random activation where you pull a dice out. Because I've played Bolt Action, I've got a big British Army. I've played a couple of games. Again, I do a lot of painting and building, and I never get around to gaming. Love the blue, very skippier. Yeah, thanks. I like the red Romans, cool. But I saw a picture just before I bought these. I saw a picture of someone did it on Facebook, blue shields and stuff, and I thought, wow. So that's why I'm doing it. Well, I never really understood why. Well, in my opinion, activation is not such an important part of the rules for me. Melee, morale, and critical rolls. I mean, yeah. So if you like to play like that, that's fine, and I'd probably agree with you as well. However, I would say I don't like I go you go games. Maybe I'm not going to pick on 40k, but I see a lot of 40k stuff where you think, in my turn, I know this guy's going to move because that's what happens on my turn. So therefore, on my turn, which I know will be next, I'm going to get this guy to zap that person. So it's almost like, rather than going, I'm going to get this guy to do something, it's going to be very much, hopefully I get the shot off before he can stop me. Which people play it and they play it and enjoy it, and that's fine. But for me, I like the kind of, there we go. I like the thoughts of sort of I'm going to get an activation this turn, or is that unit? I've got a game plan of this unit activating. Is it going to activate? I kind of like that. I think that's kind of a bit more fun because you kind of think about if it's an actual war zone, you might get some units that just don't want to do anything during this period of time, whether it be 5 minutes. They might be shot at the turn before and they think, right, no, I'm keeping my head down. Or you might not be able to relay orders to them because of the confusion of battle. So I think having that random activation, Bolt Action does it to a certain extent. I like that Two Fat Lardies goes a bit further, and rather doing, you pull out a dice which is either yours or theirs, and you can give it to any unit. Like Two Fat Lardies with Shark's Practice, you pick out a unit's activation, so then this unit can definitely move because I picked out their chip. You can go, right, I'm going to move, because you might have plans for this one core unit to storm up the table first turn and charge and do some damage, but you might not get their token, and then all of a sudden you've got to change your whole battle strategy on the fly because the chips aren't in your way. And I think that kind of shows a bit more of just the madness of combat and the madness of battle. It doesn't go to plan. You can't have a game plan of, right, in my turn I can shoot all my guys because it's my turn. It adds a bit more to it where you think, on my turn hopefully I can get that unit to fire. If they don't fire, now I'm going to have to think about what that rifle squad might be doing, because I wasn't really relying on that. But now it looks like they're going to be my only chance to do something, and it just kind of keeps you on your toes. Yeah, I agree. That's something I like about all the Hail Caesar and Pike and Shot, is that the order test, you can plan a whole phase, and then because you fail the order test. So yeah, I haven't looked too much into Pike and Shot and stuff. I want to look into Black Powder, but I haven't looked into that. But yeah, it's that sort of, I have a game plan, but the rule set wants to trip me up. But then it kind of makes you think ahead of stuff, and it kind of keeps you on the ball a bit, rather than going, again, pick on 40k. I go to a club where there's a hell of a lot of 40k, and I look at it, and it just, I don't want to be too horrible, but I look at it and I think that just doesn't seem fun to me. You know, if you've got someone who's got 30 Marines over there with heavy guns or whatever, and they're about to blast you, there isn't really much you can do about it, because you know it's their turn, and you just got to sit there, take the dice, and then hopefully some of them survive to shoot back the next turn. Whereas you could have it in a random activation game where he's got these 30 Marines ready to punch you in the face, and then, oh no, wait, something's happened, they haven't activated, now you get a chance. Or you might do the other way around. You might have a, right, my tank's about to nail this in the side, you know, this enemy tank in the side, oh wait, you know, something's come up where this tank don't want to activate, and then it's like, so it kind of, I don't know, keeps the game flowing a bit, rather than these guys are going to shoot, roll the dice, okay, they hit so many, okay, so now it's your time to shoot back at me, roll the dice, okay, that's hit so many, right, now it's my turn to go. I just think it's just about rolling dice rather than actual tactics. In the ancient and medieval times, usually battles were won from deployment. After the battle started, it was very difficult to do any maneuvers. So yeah, I agree. As communication was very difficult, mostly captains could change the battle plan, but in the unit bases, not in the army bases. So yeah, and I think this random activation can sort of relate to that. You know, again, like you can't have your general at the back of the table going, right, that unit 50 foot away, I want you to quickly pivot to the right, and then you go straight. It's going to be a bit more confusing. So when you have a unit that doesn't activate because their chip hasn't been pulled out the bag, you can kind of add a narrative tale to that, where they just didn't receive an order, or their captain or lieutenant, whoever's commanding them, has taken the order in the wrong way, and is, I guess, maybe more for narrative play. If you want a competitive, we're going to go to a tournament and stamp people into the dust, then yeah, I guess random activation could possibly not be so competitive, because it's too much. There's not enough holding it together. It's very loose. Whereas random activation, I think, for me, as a bit more of a narrative play, which I really like narrative style, it just helps you write a story. You know, I did a battle report of Sharps Practice ACW solo play, and I just made it a bit more of a narrative play. And I've had it I had it where, you know, I start pulling the chips out, one unit would activate, they'd walk up the table a bit, and then the turn would end, and no one else is activated. And then I've had to then try and make a narrative point on why that happened, which it just seems quite fun. All the same systems, just with adaptations for different weapons. Black powder and pike and shot, that is. Yeah, I mean, because black powder's got quite a few different. I want to look at black powder for my ACW idea. I'm getting better at it, but I just don't like buying rule books necessarily, because one, I don't play enough games, and like, it's two, sometimes you buy a £30 rule book when you could buy 40 miniatures for £30. But again, I speak from someone who doesn't play a hell of a lot. The most I've played recently is Saga, however you want to say it, with my Normans in the Age of Vikings rulebook. And I've got Age of Magic army as well, some dwarves. Right, I'll stop rambling. A bit too passionate. But again, going back to your point on why Too Fat Lardy's Infamy is so popular, I don't know. I think a lot of people have faith in Too Fat Lardies and what they do. Yeah. Oh, I didn't bring a drink up with me, and now I've been talking non-stop for about 20 minutes, so my throat's gone dry. I don't have Victrix released Normans yet. My mate picked up the Vikings. Look amazing. My mate picked up the Vikings. He made a Viking warband. I picked up mine from Conquest Games. Is it? I can't remember now. That's where I got my Normans from. I got some Normans. I got some Norman Cav and some medieval archers, which I'm using as my Norman archers. I mean, I really like the new Victrix Vikings are very, very nice. However, their price range has changed massively on their newer sculpts. What I liked about Victrix originally when I bought my Republican Romans was the Victrix Republican Romans, you paid £30 for 60 miniatures. You know, you're paying 50p a miniature, which is amazing. And it's a nice it's not they're nice detail miniatures, I think. However, the poses were very monopose. you couldn't get a hell of a lot of different poses out of them. But for the price and for a nice detailed miniature, I thought it was brilliant. But they're new Vikings now. They're really, really nice miniatures, but they've just bumped the price up, which makes sense. But then it's still kind of, you start thinking, I'm paying 30. I think was it, am I right in saying it was 37 quid for the Vikings for 40 or so, or however much they were? When you start getting to £1 a miniature, now I'm talking plastic miniatures. Metal miniatures, obviously, very pricey. That's chalk and cheese, I think, with metal miniatures. Some people swear by them. Other people swear by plastics. I don't dislike metal at all. I just kind of try to do this on a bit of a budget. I don't want to try save up £100 and blow it all on one army. I'd like to try to get as much as I can from it. So that's why I go for plastics. But yeah, going back to your question, Millers, I didn't realise Victrix were doing Normans currently. I mean, if they're doing Normans, I'd probably maybe look at it. But again, I built up a Norman army and I haven't played them. I haven't used them a hell of a lot. So for 60 blokes, it's not too bad. Now I'm going to have a look at what you're on about. I'm going to have a look at what the Vikings are. Yeah, 60 miniatures. Oh, okay, yeah, so that's actually not too bad. I thought you had less people for that price. I think Normans. I think you're right in saying Normans are on the cards, but they're not released yet. I might look at getting them, to be honest. I got too many stuff I want to start. At the moment, I've got Norman Cav and some Norman Archers for my Norman list. And to be honest, my mate's given me. Sorry, my mate's given me 16 Norman infantry, which I'm going to build up and paint just for a bit of fun. But I don't know if I'd use them in the game because the Saga Norman boards, very kind of really buff cavalry, and kind of a nice little buff to archers. So I don't think I'd want Norman infantry, foot infantry. I like both. For budget plays an important role, but I feel like the weight of the metal ones feel like more reversed. The Saxon Huskars are a bit dear considering you don't get as many. Okay, maybe it's the Saxons I'm thinking of then. I mean, I would pay 37 quid for 60 Vikings, so that's not actually that bad. But maybe I'm thinking of the Huskar. 37. Oh no, you got 37 for 60 in the late Saxon Anglo-Danes. But yeah, the Huskars are 26 quid for 36 models, like 27 quid for it. Yeah, I mean, but again, that's not actually that expensive, you know. I kind of compare it to Warlord games, which are very, in my head, very much like GW are now. They produce nice miniatures, but you pay quite a bit of money for them. When you got Victrix, who I think are really good company, producing very nice miniatures, if not better miniatures than Warlord, and they're cheaper. And you think you don't have to, you know, people follow the GW kind of business design of produce nice miniature and charge a lot of money for it, when it doesn't need to be like that, you know. And in my opinion, everyone loves Victrix and they buy. Well, okay, I say that. That's pretty broad, but a lot of people I know really like Victrix and buy a lot of Victrix, and I think that kind of speaks for itself. Yeah, Medieval War. I do agree with the metal miniatures. I like the feel of metal miniatures, and metal miniatures, in my opinion, have a bit more character to them. They I don't know, maybe because a lot of them are hand sculpted, and then obviously cast. It does look really. I would get metal. I would start more metal armies. It's almost 3 times the price as a plastic miniature sometimes. And again, a bit like Miller's saying, I know, like you were saying, sorry, if you're on a bit of a budget, it's kind of. Millers, Warlords. So I was actually looking at the Warlords ECW, and it doesn't look too bad because I want to start an ECW army, and you've kind of got Warlord. I think that's it for plastics. I don't know who else has an ECW plastic kit. And otherwise, you're going into metals, and yeah, it's Again, I would happily buy metals if I had the money to do it. I buy enough as it is, you know. If I stopped spending silly amounts on just random armies, I could probably get a metal army fine. But I just like collecting loads of different armies. Maybe I'm silly like that. I know you might not have had the chance to get hold of any, but have you seen the Warlord? I saw NI Miniatures do kind of talk about the resin, and I don't know. I think he said he liked them, but I think a lot of other people were saying they didn't like the resin. I think they were saying the sculpts weren't very good. If I'm right in saying that, but no. To be honest, I don't know when I'll next get anything from Warlord. The only thing I'm looking at getting from Warlord would be Roman artillery for some Republican Romans or my Imperial Romans. Apart from that, I don't think I'd go with Warlord. Makes them look like a bit rubbery. Oh, are they bendy? Are they? I've seen someone do ages ago. Did a kind of a review. He bought some. They were really cheap, but some American Civil War. I'm moving them out. American Civil War soft plastics, and it just looked a bit silly to me because it was just so flexible and bendy, and I think it almost looked like the little Green Army men used to get, which I don't like. Oh, right, I probably ought to do some painting. Probably ought to get a drink as well. So thirsty. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's a shame with Warlord. I really liked it. I started off like I got loads of my World War II British from Warlord. Really liked them. What else have I bought? Some Warlord. It might be it actually. I don't know. I can't think. I liked Warlord. It's just and now I'm looked a bit more into Victrix, and then looking back at Warlord, it just seems like Warlord have gone, oh, GW doing something right because they're making a load of money, so we're going to copy them. And you think you don't need to be like that, really, especially when Warlord's got a very good setup. I don't want to spend like £20 on 20 Romans when I can spend. How much did I spend on? How many? I can't even think how many Romans I got. I think it was 25 quid for my Imperial Romans from Victrix, and they were. I can't remember to think how many. 16, 24. Yeah, well, actually, no, it's probably not actually that far off price wise. Probably the same price. Would you? I've stepped away from Warlord recently. I'm more into Perrys are amazing. I love Perrys. All the Walls of Roses stuff, their sculpts are fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit gutted. Like, loads of people are doing kind of War of Roses stuff recently, and 100 Years War. I just don't get into. I'm just not really interested at the moment in it, and it's a shame because there's so many people doing it, and like the miniatures they're painting and the miniatures that are currently you can buy are just look amazing, and then it just makes me really want to get into it. Like, and I don't know anything about it. Nick's fault. Yeah. I mean, is Seventh Son doing? I don't want to mess it up. Is it? What's he doing? Is it 100 Years War he's doing? I don't know the difference between 100 Years War and the other stuff, to be honest. War of the Roses, I'm guessing, is going to be a bit later. I assume. I don't know. I don't know enough about that time period at all. I've literally gone from like Ancients to sort of Black Powder / World War II, and then slowly branching into other things. So yeah, I don't really know enough about in-betweenies. Now, War of the Roses is Martin's doing, yeah. I mean, his stuff's amazing, really cool. He's basically almost getting me into starting an army. I'm looking at him like, I don't know anything about it, but I know there's some good kits out there. And like looking at kind of how he's doing stuff, and he makes a point about the liveries and painting up them properly, and it's just, I don't know, it's going to make for a really nice looking army on the table, I think. Also, something I don't do, but I never multi-base. I always put everyone on their little individual bases. Sort of stuff like that makes me think, do I want to do I want to put them on, say, 4-man to a base? I don't know. I like having them all individually based because you can kind of flutter between systems. Then you could go from you could use the same troops for, say, a small skirmish or big battles. Yeah, Martin is doing War of Roses. So, what's 100 Years War compared to War of Roses? If people don't mind telling me, because I don't know. I know there's people doing War of Roses and 100 Years War. Is it the same thing? I don't know. I assume it isn't the same thing because it's two different words. And then because War of the Roses is going to be British, and then 100 Years War is against the French, isn't it? Am I right in saying that? Please don't judge me too much for not knowing, as I don't know. Just not really a time period I've looked into at all. Yeah. What I might quickly skip out for a sec and go get a drink because I've been talking way too much. Yeah, my Wars of the Roses are individually based. Luckily, I've done it in time for the new rules system. Never mind the ball hooks. Oh, I haven't heard of that rule system. Sounds like it could be a bit of fun because the name's quite funny. Yeah, I always base individually. I'm gonna get a drink and I'll be back soon. Oh, I'm back. 100 Years War is earlier. Oh, okay. Because I know it's all kind of the similar sort of technology and stuff. I just don't know enough about it. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm caught up in a few things at the moment. I think it would be quite funky to do English Civil War army, just because I really like the the thought of the early kind of muskets. What do they call them? Do they call them that? Guess they do. Rifles, whatever. Not rifles, but yeah, kind of early gunpowder units would just look cool. Like kind of have that parliamentarian royalist looks to them, where they've got the big hats and these nice cool clothes. Or I go 100 Years War, or War of the Roses, same sort of thing. I don't know. I think at the moment I'm looking small scale armies for skirmishes and stuff. But I think maybe I want to add a bit more to my Republican Roman army, which I've got, just because that's more of a project. And I think I just want to add to that. And then, yeah, I don't know. Probably ought to get on and get something painted. It's annoying. I spray paint these shields white, and I've just run out of white spray paint. And the shield transfer sheet I've got, I'm going to have two shields worth. Not enough. So I've got to buy a whole new sheet. 2 shields. Which is a bit annoying. But that's not the end of the world. No siree. So got there to be spray painted at some point. What's that? Never mind the build hoaxes skirmish, but they're saying large scale battle, but I see no reason why it can be made smaller. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think you're right. And by individually basing, you can kind of fit into multiple systems, which, in my opinion, kind of makes your money go further because you can enjoy the system how it's meant to be sort of played. Some systems don't take models off the table; they just put a shock on or something like that, or you mark it. the effectiveness of the unit, or some do remove your model. So it would be nice to kind of play all the systems as intended, especially with Sabbath bases, which I use. I haven't got any about really. So I use the Sabbath bases, which I'm sure you're fully aware of what it is. But it means you can kind of have your 8-man units. If I show you my Greeks, yeah, so they're kind of all ranked up. So I can remove people to show damage, or I just leave them as that blob, and you can have a little fatigue marker next to them or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of, it caters for all sorts of rule sets. So yeah, that's why I personally individually base. But I don't know. I feel like there's a strong following, or a strong kind of I don't know what, of people that multi-base, and that's what they do, and it works, and fair enough. But I don't want to find myself being in like a game where ideally you want individual basing, but you've rocked up with your multi-basing. So as you're fighting, your opponent's taking figures off the table to represent damage, whereas you're just putting a marker next to your army. And I quite like seeing the army kind of whittle down as it's taking damage and stuff, and so you deplete. That's just me. Like the basing 60 mil ? Sorry, what do you mean by 60 mil? How? When you okay, yeah, see you, Millers. Thanks for popping in, mate. Appreciate it. You look brilliant. Like the basing 60 mil ? As in the frontage of the base. I think the front. So they're 21 mil pennies. So I guess the front. I think the frontage is 94 on that movement tray. I really like the movement trays. I've got them for pretty much all my armies. All my historics I've based on pennies, so I can use them trays. So I've got my Republican Romans, these Imperial Romans, my Ancient Greeks, my ACW. So it kind of, I don't know, just makes everything. You don't need movement trays, to be honest. You can just rank them up. You can put them in formation still without them. However, it just makes it a bit easier moving them, in my opinion, and that's why I do it. I just like the feeling of having them as a unit. So the movement tray, so that's the size of the movement tray. So this actually comes with the movement trays I get from Charlie Foxtrot. I think the camera's wrong way. Anyway, it gives you this for your movement tray with the holes out to stick on top. But it would make it, this is a 2 mil thick MDF, so it would make it a 4 mil high MDF base, which I don't really like. So I've used the ones with the holes cut out and put cardboard underneath, which meant I'm left with loads of these. So what I'm going to try do is drill holes in them to make some more. So I've got 10 of these just rectangle wooden MDF bases, which I'm going to drill the holes in to make another 10 movement trays. Because originally I was trying to make the movement trays quite generic so I can use them for all my armies, but I'm going to make them more specific for the armies just to make them look a bit nicer. I mean, that movement tray for the Greeks, I actually haven't finished it yet. It hasn't got any, if you can tell, it hasn't got any basic material on it yet. So these have just got to be sprayed and painted up. No, yeah, it's ideal really for 8-man units. These are what they call close order trays, where you can get further apart trays, whereas these are more close order, which I think for rank and file or Napoleonics and stuff looks quite realistic. So yeah. Obviously you can get those trays in lots of different sizes, which is nice. So you can kind of I'll show you another one for my skirmishers. I've got little 3-mans. So like my ACW army I'm using Sharp's practice rules, and your skirmishers are normally in units of 6, so you can have those 2 3-man trays and run them like that, which I think is good. You got lots of different, yeah, it's really good. There's loads of companies that do it. I used to use Supremeness. I I can't remember. Something Littleness Designs, Supreme Littleness Designs, I think it's called. I used to use them, but they've changed their shop now, and it works differently. You can't buy individual bases. You've got to buy a pack, and there's lots of different bases in there. So I'd end up buying a pack, and half the bases I wouldn't use. So I started using Charlie Foxtrot, which I really like, and I think they're really good. Right, I best actually get on and play. It's been 55 minutes, and all I've done is built 4 people. So yeah, this is going to be my other 8-man. Perfect for close order troops. I don't like depicting unit formation wrongly. Again, they look great for skirmish troops. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, perfect for close order troops. I mean, yeah. So I've tucked them away now. I've got a 10-man tray, and it's all kind of loose order, and that's kind of meant to represent more like a horde or something like that. So Gaelic infantry just running around. They haven't really got their formation. So I bought that. That's actually for my kind of Roman allies, Republican Romans. I got some Sam Knights, so I put them in there. That's for infamy. Infamy. They use a 10-man for that sort of unit. But for more like trained units, it's nice having them in a proper tray. So again, like with these hoplites or hoplites, however you want to pronounce them, they're really good in a close order. But then if I chuck my Romans in there, I think they're gonna. It's nice having them how they probably should be, kind of all ranked up, because certain armies, that's how they fought, because it was effective. It'd be weird having like a Roman legion all ranked up, or having a skirmish unit all ranked up, like World War II unit of British riflemen all ranked up like this would just look really silly. So there's a time and place for them, but I think that looks quite nice, and you kind of march that along the table as they're doing stuff, and you take your casualties out of it, and yeah, quite cool. So that's why I do it. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there who do exactly the same. So, or another, like I said, people just kind of multi-base, chuck them all on the same base, which is also cool. I just what video have you just done, Medieval Warrior? I think I have to open it up now. I think I just watched one of yours. What was it? I'm just gonna have to go onto your channel, I think. Oh yeah, I started watching your Creating Miniature Armies part 1, the English. Yeah, that's really good. I started watching it late last night, so I haven't finished it yet. But I will. Let me try. Just realised my phone's been pink. I'm using my phone as a webcam. As my webcam I got is rubbish. But it means people are trying to get a hold of me. I have no idea. Just got to assume now. Assume no one's trying to get a hold of me. Again, I think like your again, watching your stuff where you've got all the, well, like all your 100 Years War stuff, it's going to be useful if I ever get around to doing 100 Years War. And there's plenty there to watch as well, so. I said, it's kind of, I guess everyone's in the same boat, but it's frustrating, like watching like that sort of content when you haven't got an army, because then you're like, now it's just making you want to pick up an army because of it. One day. I'm going to eventually run out of armies to collect. I collect them all. That's my mentality. You'll stop spending money once you've collected everything. There's so many models one person can own. Oh, I'm really not feeling painting recently, but I've kind of just got to get on and do it. I know. Just trying to get some done before you completely lose the will to do it, because then it's going to be sat around for a while. The blue. I mean, yeah, like I've tried to focus down my collection a bit. Like I had quite a few other bits and bobs which I just ended up selling, and then it's kind of like there's a few big armies I've got that I'm just focusing on. So my like ACW, I'm trying to put a bit of time and money into, and then also my Republican Romans. I'm trying to make a bit more rather than just having these loads of little skirmish armies. I'm trying to make bigger armies. I agree with you though. I really like large battles. It's just something about that I really like. And again, that's why I like collecting big armies. It'd be nice to field a few hundred miniatures each at least. But then also it's trying to find people who do the same. You know, my mates I game with, well, I say one of them's quite happy to collect quite a bit, but my other mate, he's a very good painter. But he's happy to kind of collect these smaller warbands. You know, if he's got miniatures left over that he doesn't intend on using, he won't really build them up and paint them. A lot of the time, me or my other mate get them, kind of slings them our way. So it's kind of, well, so that my other mate is he started collecting a Greek army, and then he had some spares, and he was like, "Do you want them?" So I gave him some money for it. That's kind of why I built up my Greeks, because I just got them dirt cheap, and I thought, why not? I mean, yeah, you're right. That feeling when you got the only problem is getting them on the table, because the setup takes so bloody long. Well, there is a nice feeling thinking, you know, that's a big army you've put on the table, and you've actually put the time into. Well, maybe not. Some people buy big armies, but for me personally, I'd be like, I that. Now I get to play with it. So yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. You can still have a decent amount. You can still do some smaller skirmishes with a decent amount of numbers of miniatures. So it's not too bad. Like how many miniatures? So if I'm playing Sharks Practice or something, I probably ain't far off 40 miniatures, which I know is nothing compared to big scale stuff, but it's still like it's better than the tiny warband. A lot of games kind of try to do, especially when they're all painted up. Like I've built up some British, well, some Highlanders for my Napoleonic army, which for me, I think I did quite a good paint job. And that was back when I wasn't very good at painting, so I could probably do a better paint job now. However, there's so much detail on those miniatures. I just don't want to put the time in to do it. But anyway, I think they look really nice on the table. And it is a nice feeling when you think you've got. And I how many did I paint up? I painted 24 line infantry plus officers, which isn't much. And if they weren't so fiddly to paint, I would get more and paint up more. I was thinking of buying some just standard British line infantry to go alongside them, but there's just so much strapping and webbing and stuff to paint on them. It just takes forever. Which I just don't really want to do at the moment. I like sitting down and painting, but also I like not having to sit down for hours painting. But yeah, I don't know. Especially, I think maybe a bit impatient. I just like just getting stuff done. So when you've got like a model that's going to take you hours to paint, and you've got to paint 50 of them, I just couldn't do it. It's a bit soul destroying. That's why I really like my 6mm army. I've done a 6mm ACW. I'm halfway through it really. I've got to get on and order the rest, but it's money at the moment. That's a nice feeling because I'm looking at the Altar of Freedom rule set. I'm not sure if you know it, and you're basically fielding whole armies. Admittedly, it's 6mm, so it's a bit different. And your bases represent a brigade, but you're not controlling a small part of an army. You're controlling the whole army, and that has a certain feel. Like, I haven't played a game yet, but that sort of feeling of I'm the general, it's quite cool. Whereas even with like Napoleonics, even if you were to field 300 men in your army, that's still not much compared to the whole army. If you were fielding 300 men, your painting is a necessary evil. Yeah, I mean, I started off just painting. I never used to play. I used to paint, collect, and paint. Yeah, I think it's kind of come like that with me now. I really like buying the miniatures. I really like building the miniatures. And then it's kind of like, right, I've got to get these painted now. So I always try to find a nice, simple paint scheme that's going to look nice, but also get done quickly. Recently, there hasn't really been an army recently that I thought, oh, all right, I'm going to spend some time on this. Because it's all about just getting it done. But then also my Infinity models were kind of, I was going to spend a bit of time on them, but I really haven't actually. I've kind of just blitzed through them. But it's kind of getting, it's the discussion of tabletop standards, I kind of swear by tabletop standard. If I'm stood up gaming with them, do they look all right? Yep. So then that's good enough for me. I don't want to spend hours and hours on a mini. Especially when you're playing bigger games, there's a good chance that quite a few models on your army isn't going to be on the table for long. They're going to get killed off. So you can spend hours doing an army to find within 15 minutes half of them are gone. Or half an hour, It's quite funny. But that's the curse. That's the curse of doing wanting bigger armies, I guess. You want your army to look nice, definitely. It's trying to find that balance. I think I found a balance with my painting scheme, my painting styles. I think I get an alright paint job for the amount of time I put in. Another person. Hopefully the blue, wash it, and then I put a layer on it. And then it's the skin. These guys ain't that far off. Ain't that far off. You got much planned today, mate? Are you doing much? Have you done much? You planning on doing much? The good when you think when you are painting the same army, the same army is that you become familiar and work faster and quite Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, what I kind of especially if I'm batch painting. So I start to like with this stuff I've been doing recently. I'll stick to like 8 miniatures maybe batch paint it. But beforehand, I've batch painted. I don't know, 40 maybe. So it's hard to do, really hard to do. But if you've got 40 miniatures and you're going to go right, I'm going to paint all their sandals now. It's just well done. Next, and once you're doing that kind of that way, you can just kind of start getting into a rhythm. Especially when there's certain poses, you kind of just get to be a bit more efficient painting certain bits. And then by then you're like, right now I'm onto their tunics, and so yeah, I think you're right. If you're doing the whole army the same sort of scheme. Also, what I do is if I'm painting a big army, I just make the scheme simple. So like my ACW stuff, I've painted. It's actually really simple paint scheme because I had the plan of having a big army. So I thought by keeping it very simple, I can trawl through it and not get very bogged down painting. So yeah, that was my secret on it. It's just keep it simple. Like they don't look the best in the world. I don't think they look the worst. But also, I didn't spend hours doing it. It meant I can move on, get some more, paint them up, and buy some more. I think it's just finding what you're happy with. Some people would be happy to spend days on 8 miniatures and get them looking very nice. But I know I'm not that good a painter, so it was almost out of the kind of out of the question to start with. I thought I could spend a long time on these miniatures, but I'm not going to get them looking a lot better. I think that's kind of my reasoning with this as well. When I get these Romans painted, I'm going to order the auxiliary. I think I can get them online rather than through my games club. But if anything, as well, if I get these done ASAP, then if they suddenly become available in my games club, I can get them, build them, and paint them straight away, rather than building them and leaving them on the side. Like there's these guys back here. Late Romans from Gripping Beasts I've had for months and months and months. I haven't even primed them yet because, to be honest, I was a bit disappointed with the box set. By the time I built them up, I thought this isn't actually. I don't think I would have bought the box set if I knew what they would be like. Yeah, I'm kind of getting into the habit now of actually buying stuff and just getting it done. It kind of gives me an excuse to buy more stuff. It's not like I had so much stuff unpainted just sat on my painting desk, and I ended up having a big clear out. I've still got loads of Highlander Napoleonics that I haven't painted, and they've been there probably, I'm going to say, a couple of years. Just sat on my painting desk, out of the way. But again, like what I said about my Napoleonics, my Highlanders, they were fiddly to paint, so giving me a reason. I just got to pluck out the energy to get on and paint them because they took ages. In my opinion, miniature painting is about talent. It's not about talent. It's about mechanics. If you learn the mechanics, dry brushing, I mean, yeah, it's. I used to be awful, absolutely awful, and I ruined a few armies, and I collected some 40k towel, and I ended up selling it because it was so badly painted. It's just practice. It's just the more you do it. Like I've got a good mate of mine who's kind of started miniature collecting and gaming and stuff, and not in a disrespectful way. He just hasn't been painting for that long, so it's different tricks and stuff that you learn. It's just a few like complete game changers you can learn. Like I'm lucky to know a good mate of mine is a very talented painter, and he's just giving me advice like, "Oh, do this," and one of the biggest things I kind of learned, which I kind of learned myself, sort of watching YouTube videos on how to paint certain miniatures, was just washes. Like back when I first started painting, I didn't use washes. It's just massive what a difference they make. And then use washes and then maybe hit a layer on them. And it's such a big difference, you know? And then also highlighting. I used to do highlighting quite a bit. Sorry. I used to do highlighting, kind of like edge highlighting. And for me, I don't think it works for me. I don't like it. And that maybe because I'm not good enough. So I just steered away from it now. I don't do it. I normally layer these Romans here. I've done okay. So I've done a lead belcher base, and then I've dry brushed a really light silver. I don't know what silver it is. Could be this one here, Runefang steel, I think. So I based it lead belcher, washed it with a nuln, and then dry brushed a lighter silver. And I kind of would call that armor done, whereas other people might go with the layering and the highlighting. It just doesn't work for me. But yeah, it's just different techniques, you know, washes, dry brushing. Also learning there's a time and place for it. Like my mate who's just started painting, like he's kind of getting into the dry brushing side of it. But then I would almost say sometimes the dry brushing doesn't suit certain things. You know, you've got to be a bit careful. Also, like people mistakenly do quite a heavy dry brush. If you've got a too wet brush when you're dry brushing, it just can almost ruin it. So you just got to be a bit careful. But that's just, I think, like you said, it's just time and experience. I've improved massively on my painting over the years. Going from my first army, I painted up to all right-ish standard was my World War II British. And to be honest, they didn't look that good. But then I kind of went from that, and then I went to my Republican Roman. Oh no, I went to my line infantry, my British Napoleonics, and then my Republican Roman. So just over time, I've kind of just started picking up stuff. But it's also just, yeah, it's just figuring out what you want to do. I kind of taken the opinion I'm going to keep a basic paint scheme, just so I can get stuff done easier, and I'm not going to get depressed thinking about having to paint stuff because it's going to take ages. So that's how I do it. So yeah, just keep it basic. Keep it basic. For me, that is obviously. There's some people, if they're good painters, you know, they could probably do what I do in half the time and make it look better. But me personally, I know my limits. What are you working on currently then? Have you got anything on the go? Shame my I'm trying to get the light a bit better. Don't think I'm gonna forget it. Next time I'll set it up a bit better, maybe, so I can have my. That's something else I've got to work on as well. Kind of like these tokens for shots practice. Also on the paint table, just be done. You have a never-ending pile. Bits to do. Oh, well, these are just the shields. Are you on about these? These are to the actual people. As I find, like, I've done it with my Republican Romans, I had all the shields stuck on, and then I put the shield transfers on afterwards, and I ended up just pinging the shields off all the time. They kept falling off, so I'll paint them separately, shield transfer them on, shield transfers on, and then stick them onto the miniature. I mean, I do have loads of spare shields. I've got in this set, in this sprue, you get Praetorian shields, these oval shields. So I could always use them as a kind of a marker or something. That's what I'm thinking of doing. Maybe have some shields clustered up with some Pelem in the middle as a bit of a marker for the tabletop, maybe. Or feeling a bit skilled, you could use one of the heads and kind of drill the actual head out of it, so it just becomes a helmet. You could have that as well, which would be quite cool. Something to play with. That's a good thing with having like big sprue kits. You can play around with all the spare bits. Quickly chuck some bronze on this, and then probably call it there. So I was only going to do an hour stream, but because people have hanged around. Shields are a big hassle to me, yeah. Do you use shield transfers, or do you always paint? You do a bit of both, didn't you? Or is it mainly transfers? Oh, did you do a video on making your own transfers? I can't remember now. It was a while back, wasn't it? Oh, this bronze has served me well. I'm almost out of it, and it's been around a very long time. I think it survived my whole Roman army, my whole Greek army, my whole kind of Roman allies as well. She's kept going. Yeah, I don't mind doing the shields, but I'm kind of converted onto shield transfers now because it's kind of so much easier, and they do look nice. And I couldn't freehand this well, so some people can, and if I could freehand good enough to do my own, I would. I wouldn't buy transfers, but so I'm not. It's not that I'm lazy and don't want to do it. I'm just not good enough. Well, I could probably freehand something, but Won't be near as good, any good as what you can just buy. So yeah, I'm just doing take the bronze bits, put a wash on it, just on the bronze, and then shield transfer goes on. Kind of a bit easy, nice and simple. Too much to do freehand, yeah. I would like to. I wish I could, but I'm not good enough. Yeah, am I right in saying you did a video a while back about showing how you did your own transfers? As in you got your photos and you scaled them down and stuff? Because I'm pretty sure it was you. Because I thought about doing that. Stug from the Stug Master. He sent me through a file for some ACW flags, so he made his own 6mm ACW flags and sent it through to me. That was just going online and getting photos, I'm pretty sure. Really handy though, and that's what I used for my 6mm ACW. Apart from my printer's not good enough, so the flags don't look that great. Because the printer's just a bit blurry. Oh, dear, take that off. Oh, I feel tired. I feel tired. So, yeah. Did you use transfer paper? I thought because I think I looked after watching your video. I think I looked into it, but my printer's not really good enough. Too blurry. Because I think you were saying you used normal paper as well and just stuck them on. I think. Right in saying that. I could be completely wrong. I think it could be handy doing it that way if you're doing, like, for instance, you War of the Roses or 100 Years War, where you're going to have all the liveries and all different lords and stuff having their different coat of arms. So I doubt you're going to find all of that through a company that makes shield transfers or flag transfers. You might have to kind of do it yourself. Right, I'm going to finish this and then
call it there. So 3 more shields. So I'm going an hour and a half now. I'm going out to a social distance meet up with a friend. So I've got to go get ready. Oh, yeah, any type quality you want, then glue it, paint over a bit, some shadows. Yeah. Yeah, I think I would look at, well, I'd want to do it that way, but again, I don't have a good enough printer. But if I were to get hold of a better printer, I think I would do it. Especially, again, if I was starting 100 Years' War or something where you're going to want your proper flags. It's probably going to be a lot cheaper than paying out for all the proper flags, because I don't think they're cheap. Also, you could probably get flags and banners for more unique units that you wouldn't necessarily see commonly used. Because I imagine there's going to be a certain few lords or whatever that are used all the time, so they're going to have easily accessible flags and transfers you can buy. But then you can have these odd sods that they might not necessarily have all their stuff out because people don't use them. I'm guessing that. I might be completely wrong. Oh, one more. Yeah, you're right. I mean, if I could do my own transfers for like these Roman shields and stuff, I was saying to a friend the other day, you buy in say you buy little big men transfers, like they're very, very nice transfers. But if you build an army for 40 quid from Victrix, say, you're probably going to be spending 40 quid on shield transfers. It's just so hard to swallow. It's it's frustrating thinking you spend, especially if you're on a bit of a budget like me, you think, well, I'll spend 35 quid on shield transfers for my 40 quid army, or I could just double the size of that army and buy more miniatures. It's frustrating. But I can't argue with how good they look. They look very good. So, right, I'm done. I'm done with that, and I'm done with the stream, I think. Have a great day off, Matt. Right, have a great day off, Matt. For spot of lunch. Talk soon. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, mate. Okay. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon, hopefully. I'm gonna go now anyway. Super. Right, let's call it there. Right, cheers for everyone who's watched, and whenever I do it again, I'll see you then.